Welcome to episode 1 of the Machine Red podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy. This is the first episode. It's also the first time I've ever done a podcast, so give me a break. Just a quick little backstory. My name is Jeremy Harvey. I've been writing about video games for the last 4 years now, and I currently run a website called Machine Red. You can find it at machinered.com. Give you a little link there. Go ahead and check it out, give it a read, follow us, do all that good stuff. And what I want to talk about in this episode is next gen, specifically the next gen Xbox. Microsoft has announced that they will be showing off the new Xbox on May 21st. Whether or not they call it the 720 or the Durango, whatever, we'll know then. And in this episode, I want to talk about the top 5 do's and don'ts. Really, it's not even a top 5. It's just 5 do's and don'ts that I thought that Microsoft should follow when they show off the new Xbox. We already saw the PlayStation conference where they showed off the PlayStation 4, and they did a decent job. It seemed like there was a lot of filler in there that was just trying to distract us from the fact that they didn't have a lot of concrete information on it. They didn't have the system yet. They just had the controller, some tech demos, and some announced games. But anyway, that was PlayStation. Let's go ahead and talk Xbox. For the number 1 do, give us some new games with the old IPs. Show us some new games for games we're already familiar with. I'm looking at you, Rare. I know that the development team in Rare has changed drastically from when it was first bought up from Nintendo, where it started off having the most creative and imaginative developers in the industry to now it seems that it's just filled with people that hate games. With all these just terrible Kinect games that they spend so much time on. And it's just a waste. I mean, Rare has some great IPs. You've got the Banjo-Kazooie games, which, while a lot of people didn't like Nuts and Bolts, I thought it was a good game. It wasn't the game we wanted at all, not even close. But, if they had given it to some other unknown bear and bird combo, I think a lot of people would have liked it more. Then you also have, like, Viva Pinata. The 2 Viva Pinata games were pretty good. They were great looking, easy to play for everybody. You guys are going for the whole family thing, and that works for it. Don't do the party games, though. No one likes those ones. You did just a terrible job at it. Also, you've got the Perfect Dark series. Now, you didn't do a very good job with Perfect Dark Zero. It was comically bad at parts. But then you had the HD remake of Perfect Dark, which was pretty good. It was very faithful to the original. It was fun to play on live. On top of that, you've got Conker, as unlikely as it would be to ever bring a Conker game back. The point is, you've got a lot of good titles under your belt that if you bring them back, if you show it at launch, you're going to be drawing in a lot of people. So that's it for number 1. Just give us some new games with the old IPs that we love. For number 2, show us lots of games. Sony, when they did their conference, they had a decent amount of games. You had some new ones like Knack, the next Killzone game. There was the new Infamous game. There was Drive Club. And then there was pretty much everything else we already knew about. This one, you have an opportunity to blow us away, to get us really excited about the system. There's next-gen games we already know that are going to be on there. We don't need to see reveals for them. Let those other companies decide when they're going to be showing more of that stuff. Don't waste your time with that. Show us games that we haven't heard of, that we don't know about. This is your opportunity to do all that. So show us lots of games. For number 3, this one is a given. Show us the system. When Sony did their conference for the PlayStation 4, they didn't have a system to show off. And I very much doubt that we won't see the system because after the conference, Larry Herb, who is the director of programming for Xbox Live, went on Twitter and was making some comments about it. Just about them not announcing the system, but not actually showing it. So they're going to be showing it. Let us get a look at it. It's not a big thing. I don't really care what the system looks like, but to actually see the system, it's something that lets me know that this thing is actually happening. Even with Sony, the fact that they only showed the controller and some games and some tech demos, I wouldn't be surprised in the least if Sony said, oh, well, we actually have to delay the PlayStation 4. Now, I really doubt that they're going to do that, because doing so would just be suicide for them. They would most certainly lose the quote-unquote console wars. But because I haven't seen the system as a consumer myself, I can't picture myself having this thing by the end of the year. So if Microsoft comes out, they show us the system, I can see that. I can easily just be like, yeah, I'll go ahead and put money down on it now. Make sure that I have that because I know that this system exists. And for number 4, let us hold the controller. When Sony did their conference, they showed off the new DualShock. The form factor makes it look closer to the current Xbox 360 controller, which is okay because the 360 controller is a pretty good controller. But no one was really able to hold it. We never really saw any hands-on experience with the controller themselves. Just people talking about, how the controller fits, how easy is it to use the touchpad on it. So Microsoft, when you show off your controller with it, have some demo units out there. Even if it's just to play a little tech demo and all that, just let us hold the controller. Let us know how it feels to play it. This is important. This is what we're going to be using for the next foreseeable future, 6-7 years. So give us some time with the controller. Let us know what we're going to be playing with. And so for number 5, get to the point. When Sony did their conference, they used so much different, business jargon, and were really vague with a lot of things. It was one thing that just made me feel like they didn't know exactly what the system's going to be like when it finally does come out. They have some plans for it, but they really didn't have too much to show us at the time. And so they had to use a lot of filler to just sort of distract us from the whole thing. And so when Microsoft, you do yours, just tell us everything that we need to know about the system. Tell us what we can look forward to, what the system will be able to do, not what you hope it will be able to do, but what it will actually be able to do when it comes out of the box. So, to go off on any of those other things and to just be hopeful about all that stuff, it really just wastes our time. Get to the point. We know when you're just sort of making things up. Don't talk about the Microsoft ecosystem. It's just really pandering, to be honest. So just tell us everything we need to know and just get out of the way. Show us the game, show us the system, and then be done with it. Give us a date, give us a price. That's all we need. So there you go. Those are my top 5 do's. Now let's talk about the don'ts. There's a lot of things they could do that it's not really going to break the system, but it's going to put a lot of people off. So let's just get started with this. For number 1, don't try to tantalize us with celebrities. In the past, when Microsoft do their conferences, their announcements, they'll have these performers coming on there. They'll have people like Usher, and they'll have performing acts and all that. We don't care. I'm sure there's some people that, they like that, but I can tell you there probably is nobody out there that is looking forward to it, going into one of the conferences. Or they're, just hoping that this artist comes on and sings this song, or that this dancing group is on stage before you show off the Xbox. We don't care. Just forget about it. Save yourself some money. We don't need those kind of things, okay? And number 2, don't bother with the tech demos. You might have 1 or 2 and that's it. That's fine. But we want to see games. We want to know what we're actually going to be playing. When Sony did theirs, they had a couple tech demos. They had one for the Unreal Engine, which that was just Unreal showing off some stuff, which they could have done that on their own time, to be honest. It's their new engine. It's like, okay, yeah, you guys are going to have a great engine. It's going to be able to run on 360. It'll be able to run on PC. Why are you wasting our time when we're learning about a new system here? They had the one with the little rainfall thing, which looks like little Viagra pills falling out of the sky. It was kind of weird. But don't do that. You can impress us with the capabilities through game announcements. Honestly, I thought that Knack on the PlayStation, the one that they announced, I thought it looked pretty good. It looked a lot like a Pixar movie. A lot of the stuff was cutscenes. It was hard to tell what is actually gameplay, but it still looked good. And that had me excited for other games as well, as what they're going to look like. So don't worry too much about the tech demos. Just go ahead and show us more games. Just going back to, my number 2 on the do's list. Just show us more games. That's all we really want. And so for number 3, don't spend too much time on Kinect. We know you're going to do it. One of the most common rumors about it is that the Kinect is going to be built in with the system, that it's going to, be mandatory for it. I don't think it's going to be necessarily mandatory. You'll probably still be able to access a lot of things with just the controller. But we all know that they're still pushing the Kinect. The Kinect has done them pretty well, especially with their whole family market thing that they've been going for over the last 2 years or so. But just don't spend too much time on it. Mix it in with some of your other stuff. Don't have kids come on stage jumping around in front of us. Also, don't lie about it. Everyone knows that when they showed off the Star Wars Kinect to begin with, when they did their debut trailer, that was fake. Okay, it was just, because they did it wrong. What they should have done is have the guy that was on screen, the actual character on screen, look human. Instead, what you got was a guy that was trying to impersonate what a Jedi looks like in Star Wars. And it's not how anybody would actually move on there. Some people will try to do that, but then they'll realize, oh wait, this doesn't work, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it my way. But yeah, don't spend too much time on Kinect. We just show us some of the things that you'll be able to do with it, but just move on. Go back to, like I said, show us more games. And that sort of takes me into number 4 as well. Don't spend too much time on the controller either. I know I was saying before, let us hold the control and all that, but let us hold it on our own terms. Let us take a look at it and decide for ourselves. Don't hold that out in front of you and say about, the development process of all this. Just show us the controller. Tell us what it can do. Move on. Show us more games, like I keep saying. And then number 5, to wrap it all up. And I've been saying this quite a few times throughout the whole thing, but don't talk to us like we're investors. Yes, there are developers out there that haven't had a chance to play with the Microsoft development kit and all that, but most of the people that are going to be watching this, they're going to be people that are just wanting to buy the system. And we don't need to be talked to like this is some business presentation. No, there is no need to use any of that business jargon. So like I said, we don't care about the Microsoft ecosystem or anything like that. Just treat us like customers. Tell us what it will be able to do and how that would be useful for us. That's all we want. That's really all we want. So yeah, that was my top 5 do's and don'ts for Microsoft and their upcoming Xbox announcement. If there's anything on there that I missed or anything you don't agree with, that's why we have the comments section down below. Go ahead and leave me a little message. There's another thing I want to do with these podcasts here, and that's prizes. What I'd like to do is have little questions at the end and be able to just give away a prize to somebody. People like free things. I can tell you right off the bat that most of the stuff are just going to be Steam keys. But it's a free game, so go ahead, and it's not like it's hard to do. So for this episode, the question is, what IP would sell you on the Xbox? I just want to know what everybody wants, and whoever has the best answer decided by me gets a copy of Darksiders on PC. So thanks for listening. If you like this and you want to hear more, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to us for later videos. That will ensure that I'll be able to do this more, that this won't just be a one-time deal. Because I'd like to do more. I've got a lot to talk about. Hopefully in the future we'll also be getting some guests on the show with us, as well as possibly interviews. I'm weighing out my options at the time. But right now, this is my first episode. This is my first try at the podcast. And I think I did all right. What do you think? Like I said, go ahead and let me know. And thank you for listening.